Dolphins Central. Here's Ryan Yousefi and Thomas Galicia.
I wonder how clear it must look from there to here. No obstruction, the selfish corruption.
Welcome, everybody, to Dolphins Central Radio. I'm your host, Thomas Galicia, joined, as always, by Ryan Yousefi. Ryan, how's your Monday going?
It's going well, Thomas. Ready for a big show today. We got some good guests.
Yes, that's right, and we'll start with our first guest. He is the co-founder and writer for Inside FF. He is Mike Saunders, also a Dolphins fan. Anyways, Mike, thank you for joining us on our program. Now, so far, what have you seen from the Miami Dolphins that you could say you like?
First of all, let me say I'm a huge fan of the Dolphins. I was born down in South Florida, and been following them for years. But I think we got a lot of stuff to be excited about this year. Obviously, the new contract for Mike Wallace come down here. That's a big thing. Hoping he provides some firepower for us in the offense. Dustin Keller also going to be a big deal over the middle of the defense. And I don't know, we got a few things to look forward to this season. All
right, what would you say was the strongest position that the Dolphins are at right now?
I think you got to be excited about Lamar Miller at the running back position. This guy's a young guy. He's awfully talented. Did some practicing and working out with Frank Gore over the off season, and I noticed him on ESPN. The guy's expecting no less than 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns out of himself. And for me personally, I don't think that's too far out of his reach. Also got to be excited about Ryan Tannehill in his second season. He settled in real nicely. A couple things that worried me about him was 13 interceptions to those 12 touchdowns. Got to be a little worried about that. He had the same problem in his senior year at A&M, so hoping he can protect the ball a little bit better this season.
Hey, Mike, it's Ryan. As a Dolphins fan growing up, what player that we've just acquired in this offseason are you most excited about beyond Mike Wallace, the obvious choice for everyone, because we're looking forward to those long touchdowns that everybody's been crying about, looking for in the training camp. Beyond him, is it Ellerbe, Wheeler? Is it someone like a rookie, Deion Jordan? Who are you most excited about seeing this year?
I'm really eager to see how Deion Jordan makes the transition to the pros. Obviously, Donnell Ellerbe, you're going to expect some good things out of him with his 92 tackles last season playing for Baltimore. But a guy that's not really getting a whole lot of attention that I'm excited about is the acquisition from St. Louis and Brandon Gibson. This guy, he reeled in 51 catches last year for 691 yards, also scored 5 times. I think he's really going to help the wide receiver core. Him and Brian Hartline could very possibly make it easy for Mike Wallace to open up those home run shots.
Right. I guess we should also mention Grimes, the player we picked up there coming off his Achilles injury. Brent Grimes seems to be gaining some steam down here as he's just continuing to shut everyone down. I mean, in the game against Jacksonville, I was at a bar and the sound was off, and I almost didn't know he played, to tell you the truth. They didn't even look his way. So that's something we haven't seen in a while. We haven't had a shutdown corner in a while. What's
the words right out of my mouth.
Right, yeah, we've been waiting for him, and he's the kind of guy that he might not get the most interceptions, even though he did. I was looking at his totals in Atlanta, maybe 11 in 2 years, something they said we haven't had since Pat Surtain down here. How's he going to affect the field on defense? Will they, it's kind of in a Revis Island type thing? Maybe we have a Grimes Island? I guess that doesn't have the ring, but go ahead.
I don't know if it's going to be to that extent, but I think it's really going to bring out the best in Richard Marshall on the other side. The kid really can play, and under Grimes' tutelage, he's probably going to come along a little better than he is now. But I'm expecting these two guys to hold up their end of the deal in the secondary so that the linebacker core that we have and the guys down up front can produce the way we're expecting them to do.
Okay, so you said Patterson. You believe the Dolphins will go with Patterson on their side? Or, I'm sorry, Richard Marshall. Right,
yeah.
And then instead of Patterson?
I live in the Carolinas, so I've seen Richard Marshall, and I know what he's capable of. Right. Patterson may end up with the job, but we'll see Marshall on the field this year.
Right, because Patterson's really expensive, the $4.5 million, which is just going to be $1 million less than Grimes is getting. I think kind of like in a Carpenter situation with the kicking, they were trying to, in the back of their head, they kind of wish that one of these rookies would step up, even though Will Davis has. I'm not sure they're comfortable that he won't get burned for once a game yet, even though he's a playmaker. So that's interesting to hear. I think we got some talent there in the cornerbacks. You know, everybody pays attention to the offense, but if you ask me, the cornerbacks are what this team has lacked for a good amount of time, and they're going to be playing teams like the Saints and, as always, the Patriots. Yeah.
We don't even want to talk about those guys. This might be our year to catch them, but we've got some things to prove first.
Yep.
A lot. So much.
But week eight is when we get the Pats first. I'm really looking forward to that game. Be a good measuring stick for where we are as far as hawking these guys down.
I feel pretty good about this team, though. I'll admit. Well, not quite. Yeah, no.
You had to think about that one, Thomas?
Well, there's just been so much news coming out of today when it comes in terms of injuries, and also the fact that they're not even ready to give Lamar Miller the starting job yet. I hope they're just playing poker there, though. But
I'm thinking. That's exactly what I'm thinking. You know, the coach has got a job to do. He's got to bring out the best, and not only the starters, but the guys that are ready to back them up. And Daniel Thomas is nothing to scoff at back there. So, you know, you want him ready if the case comes where he is the guy holding the ball.
I just have my concerns if it's him. For Lamar Miller, I would be a lot more, if he were leading like I would expect him to, I would feel a lot better about this team. But anyways, Mike Saunders, co-founder and writer for @InsideFF.
That is correct. Twitter handle @InsideFF and webpage @InsideFF.com. I'd like to give a big shout out to Pro Football Central. That's @PF Central and ProFootballCentral.com for setting me up with this podcast today.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to join us again during the season, which looks like it should be an exciting one for the Dolphins. At least we're hoping so.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
Football fans, looking to get healthy this year? Now is the time, and I have the perfect place for you. Save 10% at onit.com/football radio. Exclusive PFC radio listeners save 10% off their order. That's onit.com, ONNIT.com/football radio.
Football fans, check out the official t-shirt apparel shop for the Pro Football Central Radio Network. Check out bigfrog.com/Cincinnati. That's bigfrog.com/Cincinnati. You think it, we ink it. They have an awesome 24-hour turnaround time. You can also visit them at their fabulous store over at Anderson Town Center, 7426 Beachmont Avenue, Cincinnati, Ohio 45255. That's bigfrog.com/Cincinnati.
All right, back here on Dolphins Central Radio, we are joined by my good friend Roger Paul of the Miami New Times, and maybe more well known from Fins Nation, the site that many of us grew up on here. How you doing today, Roger?
I'm doing pretty well. How's it going for you?
It's going well. Thanks for joining us, bro.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we're getting back into football season finally. We're getting to talk about a couple games here. I take it you watched that barn burner there in Jacksonville on Friday night?
Yeah, I actually watched it twice. I'm that kind of masochist. So, yeah, I've definitely seen it.
Gee, were you trying to go to sleep or something at the end?
Actually, I was watching it last night at about 1 a.m. just as I lulled myself into a nice little slumber by watching our offense.
Yeah, I'm still I'm not used to the uniforms yet, to tell you the truth. I still don't
I
don't feel like I'm watching the Dolphins, but I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, I feel like the white ones are a little better to deal with than the sort of aqua blue neon tetra ones that were in the Hall of Fame game. Yeah. But, it's going to be a process. It's an adjustment period.
Right. So who impressed you the most there in Jacksonville Friday night, I guess it was?
Yeah, well, I guess, a few things. I mean, again, it was Jacksonville. It's preseason, so all these things, you take it with a grain of salt. But, right off the top of my head, the defense played well. The starters played, 3 series or so. They gave up about 14 yards. They seem to be pretty aggressive and swarming to the ball. So that was something that really stuck out to me right away. Again, it's Jacksonville, it's Blaine Gabbert. There's no Maurice Jones-Drew, there's no Blackman in there. So, again, it's kind of it's a tough sort of test to tell how good or bad it was. But the defense was definitely an improvement over the Dallas game. Tannehill's third drive, the connections that he had with Keller on that were impressive. He was looking downfield more. The first couple drives were not so great. But on that drive, he seemed to kind of put it together, especially making that connection with Keller. The turnovers that we had, whether it be special teams or on defense, that was great. They've stressed that this offseason considerably. Defensive coordinator Kevin Coyle has been all about that. So it's good to see that kind of show itself when the Dallas game was, we were in the red when it came to turnovers. Caleb Sturgis was awesome, just as a young kid to come in, and just preseason game and all, but he looked pretty sharp. I mean, those touchbacks are awesome to have, kicking from 58 and 36, making those. So, there's a lot of good positive things that I took away from the game.
Yeah, I was reading about it today, and I thought it was pretty funny that all of a sudden the Dolphins are getting credit for turnovers when Jacksonville, they basically just dropped the football.
Yeah.
Like we kicked them the ball and it hit them in the chest, and then we picked it back up.
Yeah,
it's a start. Yeah, our long snappers falling on the ball. Good job, special teams coach. I don't know.
Hey man, you got to take it where you can get it. We got certain MVPs on this team. The punter and the long snapper. They've been, those guys are, pretty pro all-stars for us. They've done a good job over the years.
What do you take from, I think one of the biggest things here that people are starting to talk about is that it's time to get Lamar Miller some action. As much as, he went to the University of Miami, so we all feel like we've seen a little bit of him, playing college down here. But it's time to see him with the Dolphins. Potential gets you so far. He's not Adrian Peterson. How about we get some carries,
Yeah, I agree. We lose Reggie Bush, Lamontel. He is this beast for us last year. We lose that guy, and they put it squarely on Lamar now. And the whole running back situation, it's still kind of a cloudy, murky situation. They don't know if they're going to keep 4, if they're going to keep 3. Lamar hasn't gotten nearly enough touches. He was out of the game for a little period of time. Also, he seemed to be banged up for a second. So, yeah, absolutely, it seems like we got to get Lamar some more touches. And, again, this was really like the first/second preseason game, so it seems like they're bringing a lot of people along slowly, but you'd like to see him, as we get into this third preseason game for us and fourth one, we'd like to see him get a lot more touches and sort of establish that.
Hey, Roger. By the way, long time fan of Fins Nation, and you are still a hero to me for helping to put up that banner about Jeff Ireland.
Yeah, you're welcome. I don't know if it worked. It was fun to do.
Yeah. So, what do you make of some of the reports that have come out over the last week and that have shown that the Dolphins haven't made the decision yet in terms of their starting running back and have actually considered allowing Daniel Thomas to start, considering Daniel Thomas's history with this team and with fumbling?
Yeah, he's a great physical specimen, and you get the sense that he could take that first job, the starting job, and be really good at it because physically he has all the tools. But he's had some concussion issues, some injury issues, definitely some fumbling issues, and he doesn't seem to have that sort of first move, quick direction about when he gets the ball and just sort of taking it and going right to the hole. So it seems like Lamar Moore has that kind of vision, and he's got breakaway speed. So I think that's the appeal there for the coaches. And, that's a decision they're going to have to make. And, there's also some other possibilities there with even Jonas Gray, who has really flashed in these couple preseason games. I mean, he's been great, especially in short yardage situations. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there and what the coaches do moving forward.
Yeah, I thought Jonas Gray has been great so far, actually. And if anything, Daniel Thomas has been the worst of the running backs, not just in practice, but during the games. Now, as far as other players in camp that have impressed you, what would you say has impressed you the most?
It's impressed me the most. I mean, some of these lesser-known wide receivers have done pretty well. Like Bumpus and McNutt have done well so far. I mean, again, I haven't been out there myself to see it, but just having read sort of a lot of the camp reports, seems Tannehill does really well in camp. And I mean, he went through a stretch of I don't know how many practices where he didn't throw an interception, maybe 5 or 6 practices. So those guys are definitely flashing as producing and making that sort of next step in their development.
Hey, Roger, before we let you go, man, we got to cue the listeners in on something, inside joke here. Why does Brian Hartline hate cats so much?
I wouldn't say that he hates cats. I don't want to go out there and say that he hates them, but, it's just a weird thing.
Where did it start? I don't remember that.
I'll give you the origin story of this because it's so interesting to your listeners, I'm sure. I was on Instagram, and I guess I followed his girlfriend on there or him, and I don't know who posted a picture of him at a pool. And I just made a comment on Twitter like, it's kind of – and I wasn't directing it at him, literally. I don't typically do that. So I was just like, it's kind of weird, Hartline, for an NFL player, he doesn't seem like a very big guy. He looks kind of small, actually, in this pool picture. And so I guess maybe somebody retweeted me that he follows, so he might have seen it like that, unless he's busy on there searching for.
He searches his name. He does
that. Yeah.
I've seen him do it before.
Oh, really? He's done it. You've seen him do it before? Like
it's all right,
It's kind of weird, He's an NFL guy. He shouldn't really worry about Twitter too much.
Yeah.
But anyway, long story semi-shorter. His girlfriend then started kind of tweeting at me that it's off season and, what do you expect, and sort of making excuses for it. Like, I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I was just making a totally baseless observation. And then he tweeted out something to the effect of, whatever, coming from a guy that loves cats, who cares? Haha.
Yeah.
Because on my profile, I guess I have that I love cats or whatever, and I do love cats. They're pretty awesome. But
yes, they are awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
So now every time there's a cat in the news, someone tweets it at him.
Yeah, I know. They CC me on it so that I'm aware. Just so I'm aware. That I have it on record. In all my files. And I have up to date in the database that we did mention him. Sometime there was a cat in the news. So he's being terrorized by people that follow me and like Fins Nation about this, and he probably doesn't. I mean, even Levitard asked him about it, right?
Did he really?
Yeah. They
I
showed
missed
when he had
that.
him. Yeah, when he had him a couple months ago, he was like, "What's this thing with you hating cats?" And Hartline was like, "I have no idea. This is just some insanity that has brewed out there that I have nothing to do with."
He knows. He knows.
Yeah. He knows that he watches Gummo late at night by himself.
He's got a cat picture in his room with an X over it.
Yeah. He's watching Gummo repeat late at night.
Yeah. So, hey, we're going to wrap up. We got Dave Hyde. We made sure to get you on before Dave Hyde because, we got a pecking order here. Legends in journalism in South Florida, so we put you on first. But
yeah, I mean, usually I go before Edwin Pope, so this is just pretty much appropriate.
Yeah, we're going to have Vin Scully on after you next time.
Awesome.
So we can catch your stuff on Miami New Times this season again. Loved it last season, and you got me the gig over there for the Heat. I appreciate that. It's a lot of fun right now.
You're welcome, buddy. Yeah. It's good people too. It's a fun little gig, and editor's a cool guy. So yeah.
Yes. And Fins Nation this year is coming back strong with we got hacked, but we got a new design and everything, so that's been fun to read. Catch your
we're sort of we're warming it up and getting it there, over the next few weeks as we get into the season. We also have to have our own little preseason. So
yep. And we can follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, at that Rogo Kid.
Yes, sir. The legendary Roger Paul. Thank you for joining us, sir. We'll have you again to talk about a loss later in the season.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you.
Our next guest is a very prominent writer from the Sun-Sentinel that, well, I'm sure all of you out there in Dolphin Nation know very well. Dave Hyde. Dave, thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Dave, so far from Dolphins camp, what have you seen that concerns you the most, and what have you seen that gives you the most optimism for the Dolphins this season?
Well, probably not breaking any ground with this, but the concern is the offense, just in general. I mean, you're hoping to see some answers, and, from Ryan Tannehill to Mike Wallace to the offensive line on down, and it's early, and we're not making any conclusions, but you want to see progress, and you haven't seen it. To me, the best thing going is Brent Grimes. He's back healthy. And that means they have a shutdown corner and a guy who can make turnovers. And if he stays healthy and he keeps playing like he has through training camp, that's a huge plus for this defense.
Now, as for the defense, how deep would you say the defensive line is, and how is it promising that Olivier Vernon is beating out Deion Jordan so far, or is that disappointing for Deion Jordan?
I don't really have as many problems with Jonathan Martin as most people have. It seems like that's one of the loud issues. I saw him play the last month at left tackle, and he had some issues, but he wasn't bad. He wasn't awful. And so I think that will play itself out. I'm not worried about that. The defensive line, as far as your question, strength of the team. And it kind of tells it when Randy Starks, who's a little nicked up right now, but he's not even listed as a starter anymore. You move Jared Odrick in there. You move, you obviously have Soliai in there, but they have the ability to do what the New York Giants did when they won the Super Bowl. And believe me, I'm not jumping to the Dolphins winning the Super Bowl. I'm just saying this one small area, but an important area in today's game, the defensive line. They can put essentially 4 pass rushers in there. If you're moving, Odrick is a pass rusher. He has that capability. Starks, when he's healthy, is a pass rusher, and then you got the 2 ends, and assuming Olivier Vernon or I'm not counting out Deion Jordan to make a huge impact this year. So obviously Cameron Wake. So the defensive line, that's the strength, and you're hoping in a lot of other areas.
Hey Dave, this is Ryan. I enjoyed your article on Grimes today. I agree. I said this on a show in the past that I feel like people have kind of overlooked him, maybe because he didn't play last season, but as your article stated, it's kind of been the theme of his career. One thing I took from that article that was almost like mid-90s breaking news, maybe for just me, was that when Marino had his Achilles surgery, he had drop foot because it was actually not performed correctly. My family's in the physical therapy field, and I was talking to my dad today about that as a physical therapist, and he's exactly, your article is right on about how Grimes was saying if it's too short, the range of motion is lost, too long, drop foot. Is that something that Marino's had rectified since then, or that seems like something that would be a big deal these days? Can you kind of give us more information on that, more insight on that?
Well, I talked to Dan about it, just that, everything didn't go as hoped or expected, and that's really what he has to live with. Now, I never asked him, to be honest, I never thought of it, whether you could go in and have it redone, but I'm not sure he would. I think at some point he just said, okay, this is how it is. And the other interesting thing, talk about Achilles surgery, is, and I meant to put it in and I forgot, Brent Grimes was watching the Lakers when Kobe Bryant suffered his Achilles injury. And this is what really got us talking about, the advancement of the Achilles surgery and the length of the surgeon getting the length right is really the key. But, he said, look, there's no reason Kobe, you're going through when you look at who's come back recently, there's no reason Kobe can't come back. Now, whether he can come back for the start of the season, that's probably a little yeah, that's an individual thing depending on how rehab and all that goes. But coming back next year, Grimes was kind of interesting talking about it. And actually, not only did he research it, I talked briefly with Jeff Ireland after the game, and he said he spent a month, talking to researching it himself on Achilles. So this was it's a huge topic, obviously, in signing Brent Grimes, but it looks like they all said as long as you get the surgery right, there's no reason, there won't be a recurrence, is what the idea is. So if he's healthy, and the Achilles, it doesn't sound like will be the problem this year.
Right. It seems like there's a lot of parallels. ESPN just did that big story on how Tommy John surgery came to be and how big of a risk it was back when Tommy John first had it. And there was someone before him, I forget the name, that had it. But there seems to be a lot of parallels where medicine has improved, and it's almost like an Adrian Peterson thing with the knee injury, where it's something where you can come back even stronger. So that's one of this looks like it could be one of Ireland's bigger moves.
It's interesting that the Falcons evidently feared the Achilles. They stayed away from it because the idea is, and some Falcons people said that the idea is for a cornerback puts more stress on Achilles because of how he's moving, up and down the back, going backwards and then sprinting forwards. That he puts more stress on the Achilles than anybody else on the field. So they're concerned about that. So to be honest, I'm just taking people's word. I haven't talked to doctors about it and haven't done any research on it, but it's if Brent Grimes is healthy, it's a huge signing for the Dolphins. All of a sudden they only need one starting cornerback, or maybe two, depending on how you look at modern football. A lot of teams play with three cornerbacks as much as anything else these days. But they haven't had a cornerback who can get turnovers consistently, really, or shut down receivers since Patrick Surtain left in 2003.
No, I'm very excited about Grimes as well, and I'm actually pretty excited about the secondary. Now, as a whole, would you expect this unit to be a lot better than last season's unit?
Yeah, I think the secondary should be improved just on Brent Grimes. I mean, that start there. If he's an impact player, they got that. Rashad Jones obviously showed he can be a very good player last year, and there's no reason to question him. Chris Clemens, to me, is just another player, and they have a lot of options now at the other cornerback. Dimitri Patterson's looking good in training camp. Will Davis, he's made some really great plays. I think his consistency, like with any rookie, is going to be the question with him. And then, Jamar Taylor, I don't think he's going to be healthy enough right away. He's behind right now, but, looking ahead, moving forward, he'll be in the mix too. So, and Richard Marshall. So they have a lot of options this year that they really, they were a little pigeonholed. They didn't like Sean Smith, but they, in their system, and he was really wildly inconsistent, more so than a guy his age should have been. And so, no reason to think that his secondary won't be much better this year.
Finally, before we let you go, and thanks for appearing on our show once again, at the tight end position, obviously Dustin Keller is the starter, but in the battle between Michael Egnew and Deion Sims, who would you say has the edge right now, and who fits the Dolphins' offense better?
That's a great question because, a month ago I would have said Deion Sims clearly, and Sims has made some nice plays, but one of the surprises in the camp, and it's a surprise you're saying it after watching him play in practice last year, is Michael Egnew looks pretty decent. He looks pretty good. He not only, 4 catches in the first preseason game, more than he had all last preseason. And, but, you watched him blocking. Now it was against second stringers, this past Friday in Jacksonville, but he looked pretty good blocking. So, this is something to watch play out through the rest of preseason. I'm not throwing great backing to Michael Agnew because it's hard to just forget last year. But he looks like a different player so far, and at the same time, Deion Sims gives him a lot of size and you need to see more of him as well. I haven't seen really enough of him, but he's made some nice plays and run some nice routes. So we'll see where this one goes. I'm interested.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Hope to have you appear on the program again, and thank you for your great insights on the Sun-Sentinel. And be sure to follow him, everyone, at Dave Hyde Sports.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me.
Football fans, check out ProFootballCentral.com for all the latest NFL news and analysis. Also, check out the very popular Pro Football Central Radio Network for awesome NFL talk around the league. Go to ProFootballCentral.com. ProFootballCentral.com.
And now for our next guest. She is the host of Texans Central Radio, which last week made its grand debut on the Pro Football Central Radio Network, and Ryan, it is quite a show.
So I've heard. I heard she made her debut, and she did very well. So we're happy to have her here at the PFC family.
We're always happy with the talent that Pro Football Central continues to bring in. Here she is, Jay Anderson.
Hi guys, it's me. It's Jay Anderson. How are you guys doing this evening?
Doing well.
We're doing very well.
Awesome, good to hear. So, yes, I am the host of Texans Central Radio, and I'm so excited to join the family and be a part of you guys' family. I feel like I have big brothers. I never had big brothers, so I'm excited about this.
Well, it's another sister for me. I already have two, so.
Yes, as do I.
Hey,
we're used to it.
Yay. I knew you were the right guys for the job. So are we excited about Saturday or what?
Yes, we are. And actually, I wanted to ask this question because this is going to be the elephant in the room. Is there any chance the Dolphins have of beating the Texans? Ever?
No, not a chance. Ever.
Okay, thanks for joining us.
And that's all. And that's a wrap, folks. And there you have it, America. I was looking at the numbers today, and I was kind of going over the history that the Dolphins and the Texans series has had, and I was looking for a glimmer of hope for the Dolphins, and then the light flickered, and then it just faded. So, because right now, looking at it, the 7 times that they've met, Miami has yet to pull out a win. They came close one time. They came really close back in 2008. They lost by 1 point. So, maybe the 8th time might be a charm. I doubt it, but, crazy things have happened.
Well, actually, it was more than once from what I remember, because in 2003, I believe the Dolphins led the majority of the game, and this is still a source of great shame, as David Carr had a come-from-behind drive. And then I remember a couple of games that went into overtime. But, yeah, no, you're right. And it seems like the gap is only widened.
You would bring up David Carr. That's kind of hidden below the belt. David Carr, you bring up, of all people, David Carr.
In fairness, he would have been the best Dolphins quarterback in the last decade. So
I feel like the Texans have beat the Dolphins every single time they've met on a quarterback sneak from 3 with no time remaining. I feel like that's happened 8. Does it happen 8 times or no? Maybe
7.
It's just me. 7. Okay.
Yeah, just 7. Because this is our 8th date, so we've known each other for a while.
It's preseason though, so this one doesn't matter. Which means even if the Dolphins do somehow pull out a win, it's not like we can say anything.
No, but technically it is a glimmer of hope. Now, because if they do win, once again, I highly doubt. At least they can finally say they did it.
All right, Mrs. Anderson, since we are down here in Miami, you got to give us some love because your new addition, Mr. Edward Reed, has given you guys fits for his entire career, and now he has joined the dark side and is with you guys. What's his status right now? He's yet to play, right?
He has yet to play. Right now, he is actually just now getting to a point where he has a little bit more mobility. So I don't really expect to see him much in the preseason. Don't hold your breath. Because I do know that they are trying to rest him up for the first game of the regular season since that is so close. So I don't particularly, if we do see him, he's very minimal. Very, very minimal. However, on the other side, you guys have acquired one of my favorite young cornerbacks, and that's Brent Grimes. So do we expect to see him anytime soon?
He's been playing the entire preseason.
Yeah, I think
awesome.
people have only paid attention to his birthday cake. I think his play has been off the radar, but if you caught his birthday cake on Deadspin, that has been in the news. So maybe you missed that. Yeah, maybe.
I think I missed.
Yeah,
I think I missed his birthday cake.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if we have any children listening, we might want to talk about it. So we'll move on
and there. You have it.
Yeah, we'll move on to this. We'll move on to this and just say that neither the Dallas Cowboys nor the Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami's first two opponents during the preseason, have even thrown it in Brent Grimes' direction. I don't know what that means. You would think that would be a good thing for a cornerback, but we'll just leave it at that. That sounds really good, and we are very excited to have him.
Exactly. To have a cornerback that you actually have a team that's afraid of, hey, that's actually kind of a good thing. But hopefully he does become more of a target.
Mm-hmm. So another question while you're talking to guys in Miami down here. What's Andre Johnson? Has he got a couple more years left in him? Last season,
I definitely see Andre still has 2 strong years left in him. I think if he can make it through this season and stay healthy, then I definitely would see him being around for at least another 2 years, especially with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins. If they can learn to utilize Andre and DeAndre effectively so that the team has a balance from both. And again, that's looking at, say, the best tandem I could pair them to would probably be a Roddy White and Julio Jones. If the Texans can find a way to use their talents the same way that Atlanta had for Roddy and Julio, then I definitely think Andre has a very good 2 strong years left because his talent is undeniable. His strength is undeniable. It's just the matter of keeping him healthy. And in order to keep him healthy, they're going to have to make sure that DeAndre Hopkins is 102%.
Right. Yeah. You also have, we're keeping on the theme of players in the state of Florida. You have Brandon Harris at cornerback, and one of my favorites of all time, Greg Jones, who actually went to Florida State and was in my classes while I was there. He's one of my favorites. You guys picked him up. So how do you feel about Greg Jones' addition?
I like the addition of Greg Jones. Of course, the Texans have found a way to bring in new guys and effectively use them, and I think that works well in their favor because at times the Texans' style of play can become predictable because they do kind of do a lot of things that are very textbook. But even if when you do things that are very textbook and then oftentimes teams that may be predictable, when you add a new guy in there, it does give teams, the opposing team, a bit of a challenge because they don't know what to expect from that player in that particular team. So that's why I definitely like the addition of Jones, as well as Harris, because they have a fresh outlook on what the Texans are doing versus something they've probably been doing over and over and over and over and over, and it's just, the same thing, just different jerseys. It's a different scheme and a different style of play, and they have to add their flair to it, and opposing teams are not going to know what to expect. So I'm definitely excited to see what they bring.
Jay, how would you rank Matt Schaub as a quarterback?
Matt Schaub, I almost feel like Terrell Owens when I think of Matt Schaub and how he felt about Tony Romo, and that's my quarterback. And just like anybody else on the team, you stand behind your quarterback and his strength. For me, what I would love to see from Matt Schaub this season is just consistency. I think that's the one thing that he's been lacking. I think he's a very talented quarterback. I think he is, over time, he's definitely developed because you're talking about a guy that we took that was a backup in Atlanta, and now he is, in the prime of his career. So to see him further develop and further get over his hump, because he definitely still has a hump to get over in the playoffs, that's what I'm looking forward to, is seeing him get over that hump and having the toughness and the mindset that he has to take this team deeper into the playoffs, that losing to New England is not an option. Making sure that when we get down by 10 or by 17, that we don't lose focus and we don't continue to drop back and we don't just give up games in the third quarter, that we continue to fight to the end. And so my hope for Matt Schaub this season is to see him rise above those small things. Because I was just speaking with Mike Saunders last week, and I asked him how did he feel about teams when they're questioned on their mental toughness, and I kind of agree with him. Mental toughness at the end of the day, half the time, doesn't have anything to do with it. It's how you prepare and how you stay ready and how you stay prepared. So to see Matt Schaub see the preparedness that he should be putting in throughout the week and see it come to fruition on the field on Sunday is what I expect to see this season. Anything less than that would be, honestly, a bad year for him.
All right. Now, how would you see the Texans finishing this season? They have 2 consecutive AFC South championships. Do you think they can three-peat?
I definitely think they can three-peat. Definitely in their division. When you look at the division as a whole, the one team I definitely kind of conceive would probably be possibly being a little bit of a threat. Maybe Indianapolis. Maybe if Indianapolis can have the type of year that they had last year, maybe. Tennessee is still rebuilding, still trying to find their footing again to be who they once were. So, and then, Jacksonville, I'm sorry to say,
sorry about that.
Jacksonville. Yeah, it's laughable to even think about. Jacksonville is not the Jacksonville that they were back in 2006 when the Texans actually were afraid of them. But, I don't really see them really having a problem getting through their division. So, with that being said, for them, it's not really their division I'm even most concerned with. I definitely see them getting to the postseason. It's just what are they going to do in the postseason? How are they going to manage the postseason? Making sure that people are healthy throughout the postseason, and again, getting over that hump, figuring out what small details or critiques that they need to make to get over the hump. And so I just don't want to see them go further into the playoffs. I don't want to see that give up mentality or style of play or unpreparedness in the postseason. That's what I'm looking for to see.
Well, believe me, every Dolphins fan would sacrifice God knows what to even get as far as the Texans have gone in the last 2 seasons with 2 straight AFC South.
The Dolphins have improved.
Yes.
They do get an improvement award or a ribbon or whatever they give out for improvement, How you get school, you get a ribbon or something for improvement. The Dolphins can get one of those because Tannehill, he was 5 for 9 last week. So that's
Stop pitting us.
That's improvement. Yeah. He went 5 for 9 for 46 yards or so. So that's improvement.
Excuse me, but we won the Super Bowl in 1973. So you can say that.
Undefeated.
I wasn't born yet.
Erroneous. Doesn't matter.
So, sometimes you gotta let that go.
Yeah, you're telling us.
But I definitely think that, Miami has done some improvement. You guys have Mike Wallace now. You have a first target in Dustin Keller. So I definitely think Miami does have room for improvement. I definitely expect to see them improve this year. And then Dustin Keller caught 2 passes last week, so there's definitely room for improvement. And then at least we know that Nolan Carroll, will stand up for himself. He's not going to let anybody push him around. That's got to say something. See, I'm looking for the positive light. The positive light. If nothing else, you got some great team colors.
We appreciate it. We're just playing with you, but
we'll
see. It's only the preseason. It's not that serious, so we'll see what happens on Saturday. And thank you so much.
I'm excited about it.
Thank you so much for joining us. Where can we follow you on Twitter?
They can follow me on Twitter at Texans Central PF.
And you want to plug your personal account or?
And my personal account, actually, you can follow my personal account through Texans Central PF. They're both connected. So you can follow me at The Realist 007 or at Texans Central PF. I'm talking fashion and football all day long because that's my life.
Thank you so much
So
for
you want
joining
to find
us.
out how to be best dressed at the game? Follow me.
That's right. I appreciate it. All right. Well, we will talk to you again later in the season, possibly. And good luck.
Awesome.
Hopefully we'll be making a preview of a playoff game this season.
That's
by the way.
right.
Cigar fans, check out fifthdowncigar.com and enter the coupon code PFC to get 10% off your order. Lots of nice high-end cigars. That's fifthdowncigar.com. Enter the code PFC for 10% off your order.
Well, that was quite a show we've had today.
Yeah, it was that was our first 4-guest show in our new time slot, so that's exciting stuff. I'm liking this time slot for after the games. It's going to be fresh on our mind. I think we stole the best time slot on PFC from everybody else.
Yeah, we did. We did definitely.
See, I was looking, not only that, but you got to be savvy. I was looking for in the future when the Heat games are going to be starting right about this time that I have to watch and write about. I thought, let's grab the 6 o'clock. Not only that, but the football. So, you gotta think on your feet here over at PFC. There's a lot of people, trying to get those slots, and we got the best one.
How about this for outlandish prediction? You know how we were just speaking about the Heat. You know how we were just talking with Jay, the host of Texans Central Radio, who was a great guest, of course, if y'all just heard her. I was wondering if she was a Rockets fan, because the Dolphins have had yet to beat the Texans and probably will not for at least another year because they don't play this season. But I think the fact that the Heat will probably be celebrating their 3-peat in Houston this season, that might be a small consolation prize, don't you think?
Yeah, it could be. You think the Rockets are going to get all the way out there to the finals, huh?
I think it's a possibility. I'm not saying for sure, of course. Then again, I do think Dwight Howard should have signed with Golden State, but that's an entirely different story, different sport, maybe a different
NBA
podcast.
talk here on Dolphins Central.
Let's be honest. If the Dolphins have another year like the last 5 years, come October, the fans are going to want us to talk about the Heat. And we're probably going to want to talk about the Heat, too.
Yeah. So we've had a pretty long show today. We got to get out of here pretty soon, but quick hits. Rashard Jones' new contract. How do you feel about that?
Love the contract. Love the fact that he's getting paid, actually, if anything, a little bit less than what he deserves, and I like the fact that it frees up the franchise tag next season for either Richie Incognito or Soliai or Starks or Brent Grimes.
Oh, God, you think they would franchise Incognito? That'd be crazy. I don't know. I think, Grimes. I brought it up after the Jones signing just because it kind of made sense. The way Grimes is playing, they're not going to want to lose him, and they got him on the 1-year contract. I think you franchise him and then try to work something out for the future, as they do with that franchise tag. But beyond that, how do you feel about the team shaping up here? It seems like the crazy optimism has once again relinquished to some fears. As always, as a Dolphins fan, fear seems to be the fear and just overall depression. But
fear, anxiety, overall depression. Yeah,
anxiety would be the word. That's a good one.
Despite all that,
mm-hmm.
Every time I'm feeling a little bit down, I take a look at their schedule, and I notice that their first 5 games, if they can get out of that 3-2, which is possible, then they should be okay, because I look at them starting off that at 3-2, and then in the divisional games they can go 4-2 in the division, which they better go 4-2 in the division. That's sweeping the Bills, sweeping the Jets.
Hey, the Bills did not look that bad, and they have some speed on that team. They are not. They're the Bills, but they are not your old Bills. I'm telling you right now.
I have my fears about the Bills myself.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
I've been a fan of Spiller before he went to college. When I was going to Florida State, he grew up in Tallahassee and was a Florida State fan. And the Seminoles blew it, and I've been watching him ever since. Prayed for them to draft him, didn't do it. That guy is a monster. They've got speed on that team. And EJ looked great I kind of wish the Dolphins would do with Lamar Miller what they were doing with EJ. The guy's young. Get him out there and get him some snaps. You got to know what you have before week one.
You know what? That's the other thing I wanted to say, which is I'm really not liking what this coaching staff has done with this training camp in terms of how they're handling Lamar Miller and, you know, just the stuff that they're saying where where he might not have the job sewn up. No, he should, because he is the best overall running back on the squad.
Right. There's nothing else there, first of all, other than guys that can play roles, whether it be special teams, returning, whatever, third down, goal line. He's your back that has the star potential, 3-down back potential. And so far, coming off a season where he got 50 carries total, a collegiate career where he had injury problems, a off-season where you touted him as your starting running back and got rid of your leading producer on offense, Reggie Bush. Now you're playing him 2 snaps. And granted, there's 3 more left. Let's see what they do on Saturday. But
yes.
if Lamar Miller doesn't get at least, say, 8 carries, 10 touches, whatever you want to say, then I don't feel good about him going into the season, honestly. You can't just throw him out there, you know?
Oh.
So you can do it, but I don't think it's your best chance at winning is doing that.
Oh.
So,
and by the way, he's averaging 6 3/4 of a yard per carry.
Right. He is.
In only 4 carries.
He plays well. Yeah, he's playing well when he's out there, but he needs the experience. So we do have to wrap up soon. Quick hit today. Dion Jordan left the field with a shoulder injury. Looks to not be serious. A lot of Dolphin fans are asking why they rushed him back.
He's a third down. He's a third down pass rusher for this year, which I'm totally fine with because I still think he can be a beast in that position. Based off of that, just hold him out until week 1. He'll be ready. Get him on the field towards the quarterback. Done.
Yes. No more special teams for him, please.
Yes.
Yes. I'm going to need to drink more Crown and Cokes during the game than usual if you continue to put him in danger's way. So we had a great show today. That was busy. That was crazy.
It was.
Yeah, that went by fast. We've been on here over an hour, and it feels like it just started, but that's what happens on Dolphins Central. I think we're gaining some steam here. We got a lot of people starting to follow us on Twitter. Gave away that fathead. We have a lot of stuff coming up. I think we'll have some more stuff like that during the season.
Oh, we forgot to. Actually, last week we made a terrible mistake in forgetting to announce the winner of the fathead.
Oh, let's do that.
Even though he already got it.
Mm-hmm.
He already has it. In fact, he tweeted out a picture of him with it, and that is the Twitter name FinFan7.
Nice.
And actually I'm the Dolphins Central Twitter. I'm about to. Oh no, I already did retweet his tweet a few days ago.
That's real cool. We got a lot of people that were happy about that giveaway, so we will have to do that again with these snazzy little shirts we got coming up, or another fathead. You know, we got some stuff coming up here. Grow with us, guys. Keep listening. I'm gonna try to get a mailbag together coming up here. People follow me on Twitter, so we got to do that. We got to get some questions on and answer some questions. That's what this is all about. This is a show for the people. We can't take callers right now, but we can take your questions.
Yes, we can, and we'd love to take whatever questions, and we will not tell you to look at the timeline. We'll answer them, no matter how many times it's been asked.
Yes, a little dig there at our friend, you know who. But
X's and Thomas and Ryan's. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Well, thank you so much for everyone joining us here on an extended version of Dolphins Central. It just keeps getting better every week, and I thank you guys for joining us and following my stupidity on Twitter. That is at RizWrites. And reading my columns on Miami New Times. This week I did probably the most successful thing I've ever written on Canes fans, kind of like a little thing on Canes fans. A lot of you guys liked it and all that good stuff. Thomas, what do you got going on there at Bleacher Report and whatnot?
Before I plug my Bleacher Report stuff, at BleacherReport.com, where, by the way, this season I will be live grading every single Miami Dolphins game. I should also mention BuzzFeed came out with a list similar to yours today.
Did they? Well, on Canes fans?
Well, no, actually more on University of Miami students, but, kind of had the, Canes fan thing, and I'm like, really BuzzFeed? But anyways, yes, you can read my stuff at Bleacher Report. I will be doing the live grades throughout the season, starting on Saturday with their game against the Texans, and later this week I will have a preview for the game against the Texans, which is simply answering the question, what do we as Dolphins fans want to see from the Dolphins in preseason game number 3? Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter at Thomas Galicia, spelled Galicia, and not only will I talk Dolphins, but there's a bunch of other things that I like talking about.
Yeah, like me not swimming.
Like you not swimming, and also going through memory lane. I posted a picture of an autograph I had from Wayne Huizinga, former owner of the Dolphins.
Nice.
You can check that out. You can check that out on my Twitter account through my Instagram account, but I'm not giving out my Instagram account. You can figure it out though if you really want to follow me there.
Yeah. All right, we got to get out of here, but thank you guys for joining us on Dolphins Central, and we will speak to you next week after a Dolphins.
This has been a presentation of the Pro Football Central Network. For news, blogs, highlights, and more, log on to ProFootballCentral.com.